Okay, good. So today we're going to talk about UAT and the tracking of case report form. So now let me quickly share my screen. But okay, before I share my screen, I'll just give you the broader the overview of it. What is the UAT and why it is important and how it's done. In every let's talk about normal app that we have, like let's say uh, app of WhatsApp. Let's take a WhatsApp. Okay. So whenever there is a new version of WhatsApp coming, or whenever there is a new application that is coming, what happens here? First, they will program it. Once they program it, they will do the QC check. QC check is nothing but user acceptance testing, whether this is according to the requirement or not. Let's say WhatsApp. There are four options at the down. One is for the calls, one is for the status, one is for the charts and all. So if I click on the charts, is it going to the charts section or not? Or if it's going to the status section or not? So we should check before we release to the production. The last step is the production. So the user acceptance testing means the whoever is going to use the end user. So who will be using that particular application or particular product is the end user, is designed according to their requirements or not, according to the particular standard operating procedures or not. Let's say there are some applications um, uh, let's say a video call option in WhatsApp. Is it according to the ethical rules or not? Is it allowed to have a video calls or not, like option? So that is the according to the standard operating procedures. That is according to ethical rules. So whether this application is designed according to ethical principles or not, and if it is designed, whether it is working properly or not. So it's nothing but when I'm releasing my application to the market, or when I'm releasing my product to the market, I'm trying to check whether it has all the specification that I planned for, that we thought we planned for, right? And that is what the user acceptance is testing. Next is the production. So now, why are we talking? Why? As a clinical data management personnel, what will be your role and responsibilities in UAT? I'm not sharing my screen yet, but can someone guess? Sorry, guys. Can someone guess like what will be your roles and responsibility in UAT generally? Like, why do you think that as a being a clinical data manager professional, you should be looking into the UAT or the production or the programming? Or why should you be involved in the programming? You don't have to, right? But why? Why do you think it is important to be participating to the programming or the production of the UAT? It's okay. Just the slightest clue would help. Okay. So, okay, yeah, few answers. Or okay. Um, the reason that during the study startup, you might have seen that it is clinical data management professional to ensure that all the clinical data management applications are built properly for the specific study. That means if I'm using if I'm using any application for my study, and each clinical study is different, nothing is same. The way the therapeutic area would be different. If its therapeutic area is different, the it might be for the different disease. Even if it is for the same disease, then it will be different drug. Even if it's the same drug, then it will be different assessments, different objectives, different endpoints that they look for, right? So now, application is the broader term. Like let's say that you have a concept that there is a WhatsApp, but if you look into that, each country will have a different options actually. Um, Okay, let me talk in different one. Prime, Amazon Prime. I think you all know, like where we watch a lot of series and all. So if you look into that, there is one series name called Kingston of Mayor. So that is not available for Indian Amazon Prime, but it is available in Australian Amazon Prime. You see that there is a different I mean series are available in different countries. And if you see in China, they have their own way of Facebook, they have their own way of YouTube, they have their own Instagram, but it looks like Instagram, but it's different Instagram they have, China. Okay, so every country has their own way of rules and the regulations and how they operate. Same way, every clinical trial study is different. So we cannot keep collecting the same data for every clinical trial study. That is the reason that what clinical data management professional do, they oversight or they monitor the programming for the particular case report form design. So the design will be done by some other department like SAS programmers, everyone different. So but what the clinical data management team would do, they just see that whether they are creating the case report form according to the my study requirement or not. That is the reason that if you look into the study startup process, the first thing that CDM people does is they see the protocol, they go through the protocol, okay, so that would help whether the programming is happening properly or not. Now, once the programming people done the programming, now clinical data management team will do the user acceptance testing. Now let me share my screen and show you all that how do they prepare that. Meanwhile, any questions? No questions? Okay. So the last week session, we have seen that how the protocol design looks like, and so in order to design the case report form, first we need to have an understanding the protocol. So as we know that the protocol describes that purpose of the study, why the particular um, why the clinical trial is being performed, and how many people will be participating, like what are the clinical, what are the different patients that will be participating in the trial, and who is eligible to participate. That means, let's say that, based on the inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, who can be participate in the trial, and how is the study will be carried out, based on what, and how the study will be carried out, then what are the information will be gathered from the patients as an endpoint. Okay, if I talk about endpoints, let's say that what is your endpoint by just um, taking this course. Your endpoint, or at the end of the day, you are planning to have the good knowledge on the clinical data management, and at the end you are also planning to get a job. So that is your endpoint. Same way that what kind of support, or how the patients, what kind of information that we would be gathering from the patients, like the lab information, their disease progress information, adverse event information, anything that we get from the subject. So who are the contributors to the protocol? So the contributors will be mainly from the clinical scientist, then clinicians, like the investigator. So every study will have a principal investigator, principal investigator. So who would be supporting the writing the protocol, and the clinic regulatory authorities, biostatisticians, to understand the how many patients can be participate in the trial, and also that biostatus, what are the number of patients that we would be collecting, what are the different cohorts that they would be looking into it. Then regulatory authorities, that whether the particular you know criteria of the patients are eligible or not. Is there any regulatory requirement? I mean, is there any form that needs to be filled additionally for each one? And the clinical operations, of course. So clinical operation is the broader term that we use. Who will be um, you know um, clinical operations, who will oversight every department at the in the clinical trial at the global level. So who works at the regulatory team, and who uh, who works at data management team. So they're kind of looking into every aspect of the particular clinical trial. And so what is the general information that I think we have seen already, the how the protocol, and so let's see that what is the case report form. If a form is a digital, usually an electronic, usually web based, where web-based questionnaires. So it's kind of um, a web-based form that will be having the questionnaires. So let me show you all that how it looks like. Yeah, this how it look like. You can see whenever we think about what kind of questionnaires are we would be getting, or what kind of data that we would be collecting. It's simple. It's just that the data of when did the patient has come for, or for which visit the patient had come for. And if they have conducted the vital signs, let's say vital signs are very important in each clinical trial. Let's say that why vital signs are being collected to understand the patient is stable. Simple. And the height, weight, the details. So these are general information. But where I'm getting this information, who had asked me to collect this information? Again, you need to understand that this all information is being generated from protocol. So the protocol is the document that where we would be looking into to design the case report form. If someone asks you which is the document, which is the document that that we would use to design the case report form, then you would say the protocol. If someone asks you what are the protocol contents, yes, you already seen the protocol contents of the particular information. Okay, and okay. Now what I'll show you, I will show you all that how the case report form would look like. Just give me 1 second again. It's not in everything in one. Um, I am not getting just. Just a second, yes. I'm just lost in the PPTs, multiple PPTs. Okay. Yeah, I just found it. So I'll just show you the document actually, so you'll understand very clearly that how this document works like. So what happens here that we will use the different specifications in order to um, um, use for used to do the user acceptance testing. So mainly for the user acceptance testing, what we need to do, we need the test cases. Test cases means the cases that you want to you know that you want to test for. Like let's say patient age is 45, patient date of birth is 1995. So if I give January 5th 1995 till date, it should give the exact age. Otherwise, if it given the wrong date, that means okay, they have not done the proper check. They have not done the proper programming. So how do I use these kind of test cases? So they will have a different test cases. I'm just showing on. I don't know why I'm unable to open this document. Yeah. Okay, so this is the specifications that we have. So what happens here? Yeah, see. So they'll have a different versions. Whenever we are creating any new versions, they'll be having this. This is the exact document that use for the user acceptance testing. So number of forms that they've used, what is their orders and all everything. So now if you see here, what is the form name that we used? As I mentioned that whatever the based on the protocol, whatever the laboratory assessment or the procedures that we are using, that we are looking into. So all the forms will be looking into this particular details. And whenever we look into the certain details, and now if vital signs is the form. Within the vital signs we will have a different fields, like can someone tell me what are the assessments, the tests that comes under vital signs? Come on, you should know what and all that comes under um vital signs. Heart rate. That's all. Some more. Heart rate, BP, pulse, oxygen level. Okay. Anything else? Okay, good. But that's really appreciated that you answered. That's really correct. Yes. So this all comes in different assessment, whatever you mentioned. So now the what are the vital signs performed? Okay. So if you look into these details, what are the different assessment that they're there for each visit? What are the different for example, let's say for the screening, we will use the informed consent, then eligibility, demographics, medical history, physical examination. But whereas for the visit to, or when the patient comes next time, the he don't need to go through the informed consent again, right? Why? Because informed consent is only being collected or performed at the uh, screening, and until unless there are no amendments, they don't have to collect the informed consent. That's why we're not having any informed consent at the next visit. And demographics. So once we collect the patient age, gender, ethnicity, then we nothing will change, right? And that is the reason that we don't have the particular demographics to be collected in the next one. Then laboratory test. Of course, during every assessment, we need the laboratory assessment. And now what happens here? Whenever we have during the setup phase, what we do, we create the case report form according to the protocol and design in ACRF in setup phase. That means during the setup phase, we would be creating the case report form according to the protocol. Remember, however, during the setup phase, we will not have any patients, it's just blank. But however, we will take some dummy data. dummy data created by programmer and the database to develop the database or the to do the test. Okay, take note. There are two types of databases. Test database used for the setup. Take note of it, guys. Take note. Test database, production databases. Okay. So now, so the setup process will take almost 3 months, where they will do the case report form information, everything. Now, once they have done the protocol design, I mean the case report form according to the protocol, then they will be, once the patients participate in the clinical trial, they will release into the production. So these are the steps that happens during the setup process. Any questions so far? Any questions, guys? Okay, good. So if no questions, then let's look into the other points. So meanwhile, let me give you a few questions. Write it down. What is UAT? What is EU? This will be most frequent question is, what is UAT? What is case report form? What is case report form? Difference between case report form and electronic case report form. Okay. And the protocol, the protocol contents contents and its importance. Do not one. Do not one. Okay. And what are the different databases? What are the different databases that what are the different databases we use for we use for we use for data collection in clinical trial. Data collection in clinical trial. Okay. So these are the details that I want you to read. Okay, good. So again, I'm coming to the same question. How many of you have gone through the ICGCP principles? Come on, fast. Okay. So can someone tell me what is ICGCP principles 2? Come on, come on. This is how you get a questions in interviews. So they just randomly ask, okay, just tell me the ICGCP principle 5 or 6. Come on, guys. Scientifically, okay. What does it mean, the scientifically sound protocol? Hmm? So what does it mean, the scientific protocol? Okay, I'll explain you all. Okay, clinical trials should be conducted in according with the ethical principles that they have their origin of the Declaration of Helsinki. Guys, read about the Declaration of Helsinki. So, what are the tragedies that happened? There were many tragedies that happened in way long back in 1970s and 1960s, 50s, 40s. So, during that time, they have taken a decision at the Helsinki in Poland, stating that everyone has to follow the people's safety rights and well-being. So any clinical trial that you do, that should have a origins of the Declaration of Helsinki. Before we start any clinical trial, we should understand what are the risks and the inconvenience that can happen to the patient. So that means we should have a all. That is the reason that there is extensive research will happen on every molecule before we start a trial. The rights, safety, and well-being of the trial subjects are the most important considerations and should overall interest the science society. So that means any clinical trial you do, but if you don't see the or if you don't find the right safety and well-being, the clinical trial never gonna the pass rate. The available non-clinical clinical information for any given trial product, we always should have a complete information about the clinical and non-clinical. Clinical means like what kind of adverse event it can give or what kind of therapeutic benefits it gives to the patient. Non-clinical means like related to the particular molecule, like let's say that the molecule strength of the particular molecule and what are the the features of this molecule, whether it's a carbohydrate or the protein, whatever. And clinical trials should be scientifically sound, described in a clear detailed protocol. That's what I was telling you all. Any clinical trial that you do, you should always have a clear detailed protocol. The detailed protocol means that means it should clearly inform about everything in that particular clinical trial. A trial should be conducted compliance with the protocol. In every clinical trial, there is a IRB team, that is Institutional Review Board, Independent Ethics Committee, who takes the decision whether clinical trial can be conducted at the particular site. So if they don't give approval, we cannot conduct the clinical trial. That means along with the regulatory authority at the national level, every site, every clinical trial site will have a one IRB or IEC committee. And the medical care given to the medical decision made on behalf of the subject should be always a qualified physician. So no one take decision on behalf of the patients, and that person should always be a qualified investigator. And each individual involved in the conduct trial should be qualified by education. You all know why they take mostly medical people, because we are medically qualified. And also that training, this kind of trainings would help you to participate. I mean, to take to work on the particular clinical trial. And freely given informed consent in every clinical trial. Freely given informed consent should be given to the patient. So that means in it has to inform about the all the it has to inform about all the benefits and the risk in a informed consent form. That is the reason that whenever the patient is participating in the clinical trial, the first thing that we do is that we give the informed consent form. And all clinical trial information should be recorded, handled, and stored in a way that it collects accurate reporting, interpretation, and the verification. These are the 13 principles that you need to know at any cost. Any department training that you go, they will always this question. Even if I go for interview, if I go interview now, they'll ask me questions, especially what are the documents and why it is to be done like that. So please go through these documents and easy try to remember it carefully. If you do not, if you don't have any question, like anything that doubt that you have, um, you know um, that you are not understanding something, ask me in the next class, I'll explain you. Is it clear? Okay, if no questions, that's all from me, guys. Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye bye.